Greetings and welcome to the Tower Dive. I'm your host Dota. Joining me today is Kidoffire, captain for Team All One Lane, Fridge, captain for ESG, Ninetails, top laner for GG Gaming, Armyoverlord, headcaster for the Bronze Silver Gold Competitive Series, and finally Doki, captain for RAWR. Alright boys, so let's get to our first topic for today. So this season I feel like we harped on solo laners a lot, we touched on the bot lane a bit, and I really want to give the jungle some love. So, for the panel, who do you guys think is currently the best jungler, and why do you think so? Let's kick it off with Army.
That's honestly a pretty difficult question. Everybody's jungling paths and every single jungling pattern that I've noticed has been pretty solid. And there's not really, in my opinion, a super outstanding individual that just kind of supersedes anyone else's, because everybody's been very consistent with their kill participations. They've been very consistent on the ward category, and it's kind of hard to separate the pack. But if I gotta pick anybody in particular, I was, at the time, before Green Boy Zoo was eventually leading, I was kind of liking what he was going with, and it seemed like he was on the pathway to getting some things down, and it looked like he was going to really get closer and closer to that #1 pick option. But then, of course, circumstances came around, and he's no longer a part of that organization. So the next person I gotta say that I kind of like quite a bit is, I really like Blight. Blight's Ivern, Assassinvern, I love it so much. It's amazing. I just love the fact that he's made a Ivern, a champion that's just not a killer, to have 9-0-9, and that's been my favorite ever since. I just love the guy. I think he is one of, if not the best junglers I've seen. That extra mile. That's what I have to say.
Okay. I like it. Fridge?
Okay, so Army kind of a little bit of what I was gonna say there. I do agree. I think Blight is probably the best jungler in the league right now. I like what he said about Ivern. It's not a champion you typically see with 9 kills. A lot more of a supporting jungler, but he makes it work that way, and I do kind of enjoy that. And I mean, it's hard to deny it. They're towards the top of the standings, so I mean, doing something right.
You right. Alright, Ninetails.
Oh, alright, so I think I got 2 junglers in my top spot. I mean, so it's real close between those two, Rengar and Blight, but I've got to give it to Blight because you cannot ban this guy out. We scrimmed him in 2 different games, and he destroyed. I heard about it before I joined the team. He destroyed our team on Ivern, and then he did it again with when I played on the team. I was like, oh man, this is insane. I was like, we obviously have to ban this, and then we banned that out, and then he picked Graves and destroyed our team again. I was like, this is insane. Like, he's succeeding with not like super meta champions and just carrying on every single one. Like, you can't ban him out, and you can't stop him from what he's gonna carry no matter what. I 100% give it to him.
Okay, yeah, no. Concur. Kidoffire?
Okay. Best jungler in the league. I would have made some very good arguments. Green Boy, or Green Boy Zoo. He was doing really great things with us. He just had that kind of unfortunate game 1 problems. But definitely gonna kind of just jump on the bandwagon. Everybody already knows it. It's Blight. Almost hands down. Out of everybody else left in the league, he just destroys everyone, everything, solo carries their team.
Fair enough. Alright. Doki.
I don't really watch other junglers, so I don't really know.
Short, sweet, to the point, I guess.
Alright. So, myself. Well, I was gonna pick Blight, but everyone else kind of took it, so just take that, throw that in the trash. I'm gonna pick Barcode from Naughty Nips. Now, I know what you're thinking. Barcode, is he really good, or is it just he gets carried by the team and it just makes the jungler look good? I don't think he's the best jungler in the league. I would still have to give it to Blight, yes. But he is definitely a solid jungler, for sure. I think he is definitely an upgrade from Future Mailman, who they had previously. He camps Omen, which, I mean, I think we all know that's kind of Ninetales' strategy. Get mid ahead. It's basically he kind of is very similar to Jin Daddy. I don't think he carries as hard because I don't think he's as good as Jin Daddy, but he doesn't need to be as good as Jin Daddy because they have GVG, they have their bot lane. So he does what he needs to do. He plays super tanky, CC junglers. He has pretty good Sejuani games. I'm trying to remember the other jungler he played. Oh, J4. He plays a really good J4. He's played Gragas. So he definitely has showed us that he has a deep champ pool and that he does either decent to well on all those. So I'll have to give it to him just because, I mean, gotta stray away from the crowd, right? All right, so let's move on to our next topic. If you had to pick 2 teams, let's not pick Naughty Nips or Piping. They're off the table. Cannot pick them. That are going to make playoffs. Who are they and why? Let's go with Army again.
Okay, well, honestly, I was going to pick those 2, but hey, since you said no, I'll look at some of my other options here. I currently have been a part of this mini adventure that RAWR has been going on for a while, back with my other organization that I joined. They happen to have a good sense of accomplishment. They happen to be really interesting over in the playoff time back in my other organization. They looked like the type of individuals that could have made a bigger impact in the playoffs of that series. And I'm starting to see how they've been able to make that work. Their incredible way of having such confidence and control of their games, their consistency issues that are really kind of working out for them. They always seem to find a way to avoid losing, even if it means forcing a tie to happen. And they've been falling off ever so often recently with their losses. But I like RAWR. And I think RAWR is going to squeeze themselves into playoffs again. And another team that I think is going to make it, despite some staff changes, is All One Lane. I do, once again, think, as I mentioned earlier in my top 3, that it looked like All One Lane was going to have that. A lot of changes have happened. A lot of times where All One Lane were shooting a lot of question marks when it came to what happened with the jungler, what happened with their ADC. Big changes are all going to be answered coming up in these matches to come, and I'm hoping All One Lane still has what they have been winning with their formula, and I do hope that they can get themselves some more 2-0s to go with their chances of winning this. I think it's going to be RAWR and All One Lane.
All right, Ninetails?
All right, so I'm going to condense it down to one team, and I'm going to say GG Esports. Of course, there's no bias in this, but I don't know if you guys know, but our top laner has 9,000 IQ, so I feel like you automatically have an advantage there. And then even though our ADC does like to jump into Malzahar ults, we plan on only putting him on Draven from now on, so he has limited mobility and just can't do that anymore. With those 2 changes, or I mean, with that change, I feel like we're unstoppable, and there's nothing that we can't do.
Okay, fair enough. Kidoffire?
I definitely am going to have to go with, out of the teams that I've been seeing besides Naughty Nips and Piping, I think Nevermore is a good contender. As much as they go 1-on-1 a lot, we had similar problems. I think as long as they can, whether it's the confidence going into game 1 or 2 and getting burned out or whatever, I think that they can kind of turn that around. Once they get 1-2-0, I think they're going to start skyrocketing. The other team is going to be All One Lane.
No.
No. Well, of course. But we have made a lot of changes recently just to kind of go, you know. We lost Hero, but Blue Edit is very, very good. And I do think he's a better team player. And I think a lot of the reasons why we're seeing an upswing now is going to be because of him. On top of that, you know, Green Boy left. But we picked up Raven Crow and a coach that has absolutely turned, I want to say, like 180 almost around some of the things that were happening. So I really think that we are going to make a strong case, and you're going to just see us smash everybody from now on.
All right, I like the confidence. Fridge?
Okay, so I'm going to agree with the All One Lane. I like All One Lane. They've always been a pretty solid team, and they're right up there in the playoff picture right now as well, and I don't see them dropping any further. In fact, if anything, I see them going up a little bit. And then one other team, I think I kind of like Ascendancy. They came in their first games in the league against one of the teams that was tied for first, and they showed some promise. but they had basically just joined the league. So I think over the course of the rest of the weeks, they'll improve quite a bit and quite possibly hit a playoff spot. So
you think Ascendancy Gaming is going to take a playoff spot?
I think Ascendancy looked like they showed some promise, yeah.
Huh. I really like that. That's definitely... I did not see that pick coming. I like that a lot. All right, Doki, let's hear your thoughts.
Nevermore and GG.
Okay. Any reason why?
Because they play serious one game and then they troll the next one.
All right. Yes. Thanks for that.
Very few words, but he certainly made his point.
Okay,
it's the opposite of Army.
Yes. So I'll go with my thoughts on it. I'm gonna have to go with all one lane and Nevermore as well. The reason for all one lane, I feel like all one lane. I feel like 4 of their roles are very solid. Not to flame Ravencrow, I believe the new jungler. Not to flame him. It's just I haven't seen him play, so I can't say. But I think top jungle, top mid and bot are very solid. And it seems like they just have a play style that's like the tried and true method. You play safe in your lane. You just don't feed. Just play as safe as you can, stay even, and then team fight well, objective well, shot call well, have good rotations. And it just seems like that's their playstyle, and it's a good playstyle. It works in plat and below. This isn't LCS. You don't need some crazy strategy, some crazy level 1 lane swaps. You just don't mess up your lane, and then win the team fight. It works, and that's what they do. Nevermore, they're bit different. I feel like they rely very heavily on their bot lane, but it works. Can play Rakan's very good support. CTG Requiem's a super heavy carry for the team. Their mid lane is okay, it's alright, and then top and jungle I feel like are a little lacking. But they make it work. I mean, they've had a very hard schedule so far this season. I think one of the hardest schedules, and they're 1-1 in every matchup. So they're making it, and I think once we get to the latter half of the season, they start playing the lower half of the standings. I think we'll definitely see them start rising to the top. So let's go on to the next topic. Now, if you had to pick 2 teams that will not make playoffs, who are they and why? And let's not pick ESG. Let's stay away from that because we all know ESG is going to make playoffs. So let's pick 2 other teams that you don't think are going to make playoffs. Let's go backwards this time. Let's start with you, Doki.
I'm not really concentrated on who's not making playoffs. Let's go for all one lane until they figure out how to play together.
Okay. And who else?
And maybe Nevermore.
Any thoughts to why?
Because they need to stop trolling. They get the lead, they just don't know how to take care of it. Or play from behind after they threw.
Alright, let's go with you, Fridge.
Okay, so this one's a little bit harder for me to come up with a good prediction. I'm going to go with, I guess, Aether. And guess Nevermore. I just don't. I mean, granted, you did mention they've played some of the harder teams early on, so I don't know. This is just kind of a toss-up, but the whole 1-1 thing, I almost want to see it go 1-1 every series for them for the rest of the season, but that won't get them a playoff spot, generally speaking, anyways. But yeah, I don't know. I guess Aether, just because they're already down there, struggling a little bit, and I don't know, they'd have to turn things around pretty hard.
I got you. Question is, if Nevermore tie every single series, would they have enough points to make playoffs?
It's possible.
It is possible, but would they? It would be close.
It would require a few other teams to lose for them.
You're right. You're right. Okay. Okay. I mean, hey, appreciate the opinion. Kidoffire.
All right. Two teams to not play playoffs. First one, obvious, Aether. They haven't looked that great for the most part. They have pretty much one solid player and 4 children, I guess, running around. And then the other team, I think Ascendancy, the new team.
Yes.
I didn't really see their game. They inherited a mostly bad scoreline already from a Smurf team somehow. And I just don't think they're going to do that much with it, especially if they are a super new team and don't have the cemented time together that they need.
100%. I get you. Ninetails.
All right, so as soon as I saw this question, only one team came to my mind, and I'm going to have to actually disagree with Fridge on his answer to the previous question on thinking AG will make it to the playoffs. Whenever I looked at the stat line for that last week, I was just really unimpressed. Like, I think they're a really subpar team, and I saw their top laner pick Darius, and he literally just did nothing with that pick. And he didn't ban Maokai, which is like the most OP champion in the game, so he automatically deserves that loss right there. I'm just not impressed with this team at all.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Army.
Well, biased opinions up front here. I love everybody. I want everybody to make the playoffs. I want every single team to have one more shot at getting themselves into a championship run. I want it to even be for ESG. I want it to even be for Aether Esports. Absolutely would love to see if they can get themselves into the playoffs somehow, some way. But considering there's only 6 available choices that will make it and the rest that won't, that means there's just too much room for error when it comes to certain things. And the thing is, I really hate to say that there's got to be even one team that has to not make it. I'm afraid I guess I'll have to just say 2 here. And one thing that I need to know from Nevermore here is, can they beat Naughty Nips in a 2-0? Can they do that? I feel like if Naughty Nips cements their #1 position by saying, we get the 2-0 here, we get an extra win, that basically solidifies where Nevermore is exactly when it comes to the standings. Because they take a loss here, like an actual 2-0 defeat here, this could be the upsetting balance for their chances to make playoffs, because doubts will start creeping in, and that's where, honestly, Nevermore needs to have this part addressed and needs to have this done. They need to say that Naughty Nips is not going to win, and they need to prove it here. And if they don't, I think that they have the least likely chance to make it. If not the same amount of chance as Aether Esports and ESG. They might not have that chance, and I'll certainly take a lot of flack for that. Another team I have to say that might not make it either, despite the fact that they've got a win, is Frosty Esports. Although they are very under the radar, they're hardly ever talked about here, and their staff and group do seem to be pretty solid. They do happen to have quite a solid number of losses as of late. And certain teams are starting to catch on to their gimmick, and they're starting to understand their types of comps, their types of strategies, and it seems like Frosty Esports is slowly falling under the weight of the pressure of the playoff opportunity that they're sitting in. And to be honest, it doesn't seem like it's a skill cap problem or anything like that. It just seems like Frosty Esports is just not feeling it. They're not like realizing that they're so close to losing this opportunity, and it might slip out of their fingers for someone to sneak up and get up on them, and that might be what happens to Frosty Esports. Not a guaranteed chance, but it's one of those other things.
One of those other things. Ooh, lolly. So, my thoughts. Who's not going to make playoffs? So I'm going to have to pick Aether Esports. So far, just this season, they just look shaky. In every role. Every role is just kind of... I don't know. Like, I don't know if they're going to do okay, or if it's just going to... a sinking ship. Now, I know they picked up Hero of Termina. I think it is a good pickup. Very solid pickup. It will definitely help this team. But is it enough to turn around this team? Is he the savior this team needs? Probably not. Hero Termina isn't a lane dominant ADC. He is a play safe, farm, do well in team fights ADC. Now, it's hard to do that when the other 4 members of your team are super far behind in gold and they just die instantly in the team fight. It's hard for you as an ADC to stay safe when your tanks have half an item because they're so far behind in lane to the ADC's 2 items. So it's just hard if you're an ADC. If your tanks are behind, how can you play safe? How can you stay in the back and do DPS? Can't. So is he enough to turn this team around? No. I think they need another solid pickup, or just work on their picks bans, work on team practice, team synergy. I don't know what the answer is, but I know that the answer is not what they have right now. Now, the other team, I think, is pretty hard. Who else isn't going to make playoffs? I honestly think, like, Ascendancy, I kind of want to say them because they didn't look very well, but they went against Piping. That's super hard. I mean, you come into the league, you get, like, a day notice, and then it's like, hey, you're playing the best team in the league. Good luck, buddy. Get out there. Go get them, Tiger. That's rough. I mean, that's just rough for anyone. So I kind of want to leave them out there because I would like to see another week of them playing to really make a guess. So I would have to go with GG Esports right now. Just because I've seen all their matches, and every match they just look shaky. Yeah, the joke was made earlier that you're going to put the ADC on Draven so he can't jump into the enemy team, and that's a real problem for GG. They had that game in the bag, and then Tristana just lost her mind, just went full ape, and the game was over. And not to single out Tristana that game, because I've seen other games where other members do the same thing. They have a good lead. It seems like, hey, they're going to win this match, guys. They might 2-0 this game. And then they just throw it all away, and then they end up 1-1. So I think, to me, a team that can't take a lead and finish a game, that doesn't, to me, say playoff team. That says see you next season team. So those are going to be my 2 picks for the topic. Now, next to last question, not our final, next to last. Match of the week. I'm going to go ahead and call it Nevermore versus Naughty Nips. It's the match I think most of the server wants to see. So, what lane is going to be the most important in this matchup? Who do you think is going to be the ace in the sleeve? Who's going to turn this game around and make it so their team can win? We'll start with Doki again.
I'm not giving out my strat. Done.
It's not a strat because you're not playing.
Yeah. Also, that wasn't even the question.
Let me think.
Just a quick reminder, the question...
The jungler in mid is the synergy. And then, since that's their only thing, and then doesn't really have anything else to fall on, whereas Nevermore has 3 carries instead of 1. So that's pretty much it. Even if supports the carries, there is 4. My bad.
Real solid work, Doki. I can see why you're taking off. Fred, let's go with you.
Okay, so as much as I want to say GVG because I love GVG.
He's a great guy,
Yeah, good guy. I'm going to say Omen is going to be the one that we're going to be looking at in this series. I think we mentioned jungle helping him out a little bit earlier on. And I think he's really, really capable of carrying the team in pretty much any situation. So combination of just his own abilities plus jungle help really makes it pretty scary if he can get a lead.
Okay. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Kidoffire.
Most influential lane, definitely gotta agree with Frigid. It's gonna be mid. Omen's probably the only other mid laner in the league I respect right now. But Nevermore isn't bad. Like I said earlier, I think that they're a playoff capable team too. They can absolutely bring it. It's just about they either have to play the strategy, well, let's get a different lane fed, or they have to try to match Naughty Nips and see if they can get their mid laner more ahead of Omen. If you do that, you can win, but I don't think it's going to happen. So definitely the mid lane is the focus there.
Okay, excellent. Ninetails.
All right, so most important lane, I think it's going to be bot lane, but that's because I think Nevermore's top and mid honestly just don't have a chance. Like, I've seen some great stuff from GVG this season so far, even though he starts Dorn Blades on Jax, which just blows my mind. And then I've also heard that Can Play Rakan's getting pretty weak, so that really, I don't have a lot of confidence in Nevermore. Also, Omen's just, as you guys said earlier, is a consistent powerhouse in mid lane. And I do not think a carry-on is going to be able to hold up or hold his own in this game. Like, I think it's going to be Naughty Nips 2-0, honestly.
Okay, Army?
So, I have to say that what is basically the most important thing out of the entire match, I say 100% is going to come down to Barbie Naughty versus Can Play Rakan. 100%. It's going to be entirely based on every single play that both of them are going to have to make for the team and each single team fight that's going to happen. Where Can Play Rakan, he has been pretty influential with his Rakan options, forcing bans in the earlier parts of the week. But it's starting to look like it might be a Thresh that will be the one that will be banned in the match to come. If it isn't, then I think Barbie's going to have some flashbacks of when Exton would be able to hook her with some very well-placed hooks. And I don't know if it's a tilt that Barbie will have to worry about from that point onward, but I know Can Play Rakan has gotten some crazy hooks in some unbelievable positions and has really forced, even against opponents where Jin Daddy was just in a fantastic spot at the time, there's very little chance that the hook's going to land. He just manages to get that epic hook and turns the whole play around and allows Nevermore to have that chance. So, I mean, there's going to be a tight competition between top, mid, and jungle every single step of the way. But influentially speaking, it's coming down to Can Play Rakan and Barbie Naughty. They are the most influential members of the team, and they are 100% the deciding factor for who is going to come out on top as a series and as a team. 100% convinced.
Okay. Yeah. So I know I said one lane, but I feel like the teams are opposites of each other, honestly, in a lot of ways. Like GVG, I think, is a very, very good top laner. Dawson, 2130 or whatever, not good. The jungler, Barcode, very good. Psycho Sully, I feel like he's lacking. I feel like he has some decent ganks, but sometimes his thought process, his trying to think 2 steps ahead just doesn't work out. Omen, definitely a super good mid laner. The mid laner, I would have to say, for Nevermore, both of their mid laners, they've been kind of subbing each out for every game. I think Omen will win those, but I don't think he's going to dumpster them like he has other mid laners in the past. And then we go boss side of the map, and I think Requiem and Can Play Rakan should absolutely dumpster Naughty Nip spot lane. I like Bloodshot, like Barbie, but they are probably, I'd say, the weakest links on Naughty Nips right now. GVG is a top tier top laner. I think Barcode's top tier jungler, and then Omen is number 1, number 2. Maybe I could see the argument for number 3 mid laner, but definitely 1, 2. I think those 3 are all 1 or 2 in their role, whereas the bot lane, now we're getting into the mid tier of the league. So whereas Requiem and Can Play Rakan are definitely number 1, number 2 in their roles. So I feel like it's going to be kind of who can hard carry more, top half of the map for Naughty Nips or the bottom half of the map for Nevermore. And it's going to come down to, I think, really picks and bans. If they can try to put Naughty Nips, their 3, on their 2nd tier champions, where Naughty Nips is going to try to put Nevermore's bot lane on their 2nd tier champs, and then it's just going to be kind of a tug of war who can get who ahead and then who can make the good rotations in the mid game, which I would have to say mid game I kind of want to give the edge to Naughty Nips, but it's kind of hard to tell because it's easy to make rotations when all your lanes usually stomp, whereas I think with Nevermore they're not going to have that luxury. So that's my thoughts. I know I kind of didn't answer my own question, but it's a hard one, and that's why I wanted the question. So let's go. Final question. Super easy. Nevermore Naughty Nips match. What's it going to be? We're going to see the 2-0? Are we going to see 0-2? Are we going to see 1-1? Let's go, Army.
So there's a bet on the line that Captain Rengar is being made with another member. I haven't fully got the context of that, but it's a $10 bet between the two that says that it can only be divided if it is a 1-on-1 for both sides. And knowing Nevermore's current record right now, they always seem to find a way to make a 1-1 happen, which is something that cannot happen for their sake, but I bet it's going to happen regardless. Naughty Nips has been in a circumstance where they kind of lose a little bit of that early momentum in the early stages. They've had their ties before, and it's when Barbie wasn't there. I'm pretty sure Barbie's going to be here this time, but point I'm getting at here is it's the impact that that will be the deciding factor of Game 1, because Game 2 I feel like will either end with the other team winning regardless. I can't see it any other way but a 1-on-1 for both sides.
All right, 1-1. Got Ninetails.
No, I'm sticking with my pick or my earlier decision that Naughty Nips 2-0. I think
the clean 2-0.
Yeah, I think Nevermore's finally going to crack, and this is going to be the week where we see that they're finally not a mystery team where we're trying to figure out are they going to be in the playoffs or not. I think they're going to crack under the pressure this week, and I think Naughty Nips is going to 2-0.
All right, I like it. I like the fire. Kidoffire, let's go.
I definitely think that Naughty Nips is going to take a 2-0 here. However, if Nevermore manages to break their 1-1 curse and go 2-0 against Naughty Nips, I feel like Nevermore is going to just go on a streak at that point. They're gonna take off. If they can find some answers to some of their issues, they do have some potential there. But I don't think that it's going to happen. I think Naughty Nips is just too well-rounded of a team. Barbie's Naughty is basically a veteran. She's been around forever, and it's just, you're not going to beat her. It's that simple.
So 2-0 Naughty Nips?
Yes, sir.
All right, Fridge, let's hit it.
Okay, so my opinion in this game, I know I mentioned earlier I thought it would be pretty funny to see Nevermore finish the season 1-1 the whole way through. I don't think that's going to happen against Naughty Nips. I think Naughty Nips is going to take it 2-0.
Whew. A lot of Naughty Nips fans in here. All right, Doki?
Nevermore 2-0.
Nevermore 2-0. Okay. Well, that's definitely different than everyone else. Okay, so my thoughts on the matter. Obviously, just kind of told you everything that I think. It's going to be a tug-of-war between the top 3 and the bot 2. Honestly, I think Game 1, Requiem and Can Play Rakan are going to get some good picks. They're going to do well. They're going to get ahead. And then Nevermore are going to take Game 1. And then Naughty Nips will realize the error of their ways. They'll throw more bans down there, throw more jungle pressure, and then they'll win Game 2. So I'm calling a 1-1 for the game. So that's it. That's it for the tower dive. Make sure you guys check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/Duo Esports. Check out our YouTube channel where this will be uploaded, as well as all the matches. And then finally, come join us in Discord. Come chat, come hang out. We have a game day watch party for all the matches, and this week is going to be super hypey. Sunday is going to be, I think, an excellent day, and we're going to see some great matches all weekend. So this is Dota, signing off.